ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Reading from Canto 1, Chapter 3, text number 8 to 10. In the millennium of the Rishis, the personality of Godhead accepted the third empowered incarnation in the form of Devarshi Narada, who is a great sage among the demigods. He collected expositions of the Vedas which deal with devotional service and which inspire non-fruitive action. This is about great Rishi Narada Muni. He has many disciples all over the world. One of his most famous disciples, who is a compiler of the whole Vedas, Srila Vyasadeva, Vedavyasa, very famous as Vedavyasa, is his disciple. And he has written also Naraja Pancharatra, which trains how to achieve liberation from bondage of fruitive work. And he is such a great devotee. Whomever he touches, he can change their heart. Narada Muni has touched hunters and they have become devotees. He has touched demons. He has touched devatas and he is the only connecting person to all species of life. And because he knows how to talk to them and he knows how to inspire them, and is an empowered incarnation of the Lord. Shaktya-vesha, he knows how to give devotion to any living entity. He has even chained snakes also. So here it is said, Narada Muni informs foolish fruitive workers how to realize the reality of happiness. There are so many foolish people, just like a teacher understanding the stupidity of the disciple, who are ignorant or who are foolish, they are stupid, but still a qualified teacher, they see to it how much they can understand, how much they can be changed. They are not adamant, but they are very determined to change the conditioned souls. So Narada Muni, he gives direction to the diseased men of the world, because we are all diseased. Our material disease is to feel how I am the center of everyone in this world. Even a school student, even if they are studying their kindergarten, there they teach the children, they teach them and they get, I am the first in the class. They all want stars, 1 star, 2 star, 3 stars. Children are very interested to be recognized as the center of everyone. Children will be crying when some relatives come, friends come, because when they are there, they are being given all attention. When somebody comes, they don't want their parents to give attention to the neighbors, so they start crying or asking questions, especially 4 or 5 years old kids who demand attention. So parents know how to engage them. They'll say, okay, you like to play toys, no, go and play. Now they will not be interested to play toys. Now they want to play with their parents only, so that their attention is kept with them. That is the nature of children. Same way the patients, they are always want to be diseased because of their bad habits, and the right physician knows how to deal them. The physician directs the patient to take treatment milk in the form of curds, for he is suffering from indigestion due to his taking another milk preparation. So the cause of disease and the remedy of the disease may be the same, but it must be treated by an expert physician like Narada. Very beautiful example. When they take excessive sweets, milk sweets, a right physician knows how to give curds and treat excessive milk products what they have taken. All the curds is also one of the milk product, but when they take curds or buttermilk, it cures them from what they have taken excessively, the other milk products. So it requires right brain, a proper guidance of a physician to do all this. So the Bhagavad Gita is also the same solution. People are all working very hard. So Bhagavad Gita says, you just work. The same solution. What is that? You are working, you work, serve the Lord by your intelligence, by your humor, by your good feelings, by your storytelling, whatever you know. You can now, you are laboring for yourself, now you labor and give it to the Lord. That will lead one to path of Naishkarmya, Nishkama Bhakti. Naishkarmya or liberation is not taking one fruits of actions. There are so miserly people, they don't want to give up anything in their life. Everything they want only for me, for me, for me. And they can never enjoy because they are in struggle for existence whole life. They cannot enjoy peacefully what they have got. Even they cannot eat their piece of bread, what is offered to them peacefully. So, this is how special incarnations of the Lord. He is the incarnation of the Lord for giving bhakti. Narada Muni, he understands the people just like a doctor understands the patients. He treated Maharaj Dhruva when he was a young boy by advising him according to his capacity that you are a small boy, you have come to the forest and this is not good for you, you go back to your parents' house. So Dhruva was a Kshatriya, he was an administrator's son, he was a ruler's son. So he said, I don't want such kind of good instructions from you. If you are able to give me instruction, how should I meet the Supreme Lord? I am ready to take. So he understood that he is very determined. He was testing him. Then he gave him devotional practice. He gave him a mantra of chanting the names of Vasudeva. And then Dhruva could see the Lord face to face. Similarly, he advised Prahalada within the womb of mother. When his mother was there, Prahalada's mother womb itself, he got instructions from Narada Muni. And by association of Narada Muni, he could face the greatest demon of the world, his own father, Hiranyakashipu. So when you take association of a great Acharya, a great Guru, like Narada Muni, great souls were benefited. Even Vedavyasa, after writing the whole Puranas, Upanishads and Vedanta, still he was not satisfied. Narada Muni, he met his disciple in Himalayas near the Saraswati river where his hermitage was set up. Even now when you go to Himalayas near Badrika Ashrama, there is a cave where they call it as a cave of Vyasadeva. They are all still present, Vyasadeva. Even recently, great acharyas like Madhvacharya and even Shankaracharya, they are all supposed to have met Vedavyasa. There are many acharyas, many people of the past who are still living. They don't appear to the general mass of people. So Narada Muni guided Vyasadeva that you are given solutions to settle in this material world. You have taught them, to the general mass of people, how to enjoy this world. The practice of tapasya is done. In the Vedas, there are prescriptions how by practice of tapasya you can go to the heavenly planets. The purpose of this human life is not to go to the heavenly planets and settle there, because there is no settlement there also. We have a very fragile body. This body, when you are trying to enjoy sense gratification, this human body can any time can die. But in the heavenly planets, until you have the good account of pious activities, you can enjoy for a while. But after you complete your pious activities, you have to come back to this world. So this mistake was shown by Narada Muni. It is in the Vedic literature, prescription of fruitive activities. This is Karma Kanda. In Karma Kanda, they teach how you should do good activities, pious activities, and these pious activities are meant for enjoying this material world. What is the use of enjoying this material world? Because you are not enjoying your soul, you are enjoying this body which is very temporary. So in the next incarnations, Narada Muni, he instructed to Vyasadeva that you divide the Vedic literatures and distribute to your disciples, and you write a literature of Vedanta, the source of Vedanta, the explanation of Vedanta, in such a way that they can directly accept devotional service without speculation, without need of research. So Narada Muni's influence is very much there, and he is part of our parampara, in the Brahma parampara, disciplic succession. Narada Muni took the instructions and he gave to Vyasa, and Vyasa gave to Madhvacharya. Like that, the lineage is there, and in every parampara Vyasadeva is connected because he gave the Vedas. So like that, there are many incarnations. In the next shloka, it is mentioned in the 14th incarnation, the Lord became Naranarayana, the twin sons of the wife of King Dharma. Thus he undertook severe and exemplary penances to control the senses. People are in illusion. It is an age of illusion where people are given opportunities to exploit their senses. Like your tongue is exciting you to eat more. They say, okay, you eat more and more, you will feel more happy. If your eyes is giving you a kind of feel to see more beautiful pictures, so the modern age, they say, okay, you see more and more, and that is seen as success. So here especially, there were incarnations of the Lord to show how you have to follow some tapasyas, austerities. And he actually took up that tapasya, and actually just like King Rishabha, he was also incarnation of the Lord, and he advised his sons tapasya, voluntary acceptance of penance for higher realization. It's very important that we are all fallen in this world and we require examples, and Lord Chaitanya also appeared to show favor to the fallen souls, and just like Naranarayana Rishi, they appeared, and we go to Badrika Ashrama, Badrinath place, where now he is still worshipped there. So all these incarnations are meant to give benefit to the world. And one of the important verse for today, what we wanted to discuss was Panchamaha Kapilo Nama Siddeshaha Kala Viplutam. So this incarnation, of Lord Kapila is the foremost among perfected beings. Siddeshaha is the foremost, Siddesha, the most perfect. And he gave the exposition of the creative elements. And actually by Kala Viplutam means by time, it has been lost. There are many things, even in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains how by Kala, by time, everything got lost. So this Sankhya means, generally in the European scholars they call it as metaphysics. The etymological meaning of Sankhya is that which explains very lucidly by analysis by the material elements. So he is very famous, Kapila Muni. One more shloka we will also discuss today, which is about Lord Dattatreya. So then we will cover up to text 11. The Lord incarnated himself as Dattatreya, the son of Rishi Atri and Anasuya. So this history of Dattatreya is mentioned in Padma Purana, where Mother Anasuya, she prays to Lord Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva to become one, and she asked for a blessing, and the Lord accepted her blessing, and he took birth as Dattatreya, and he especially instructed Alarka, Prahalada, Yadu and Ayaya. So this is what we will be discussing today. Today mainly the 10th shloka. In the 10th shloka it is mentioned about Sankhya. In this class, when Prabhupada was giving class on Sankhya, he is explaining about how Sankhya, Sam means complete and Kyam means description. Complete description of creation. Sankhya means complete description of creation. So there is a complete description of the cosmic manifestation, because the people have forgotten it, not that it is not, that it is there. So everything in this world materially created as 6 stages, because everything has a creation. Here it is mentioned, the second as growth, the third as maintenance, the fourth is production, and the fifth stage is dwindling, and the sixth stage is vanishing. So 6 stages of creation is there. So anything material, actually it vanishes. That is the way of world of creation. Like the scientists are worried, there are many things in this world which are vanishing. Just like there is a description here that how petroleum, gas, they are all diminishing. Gasoline. So they are trying various other resources. Recently they have done some research on how through solar energy, how through other energies, how we can produce energy so that we have to run our industries. Otherwise within 50 years or 100 years, everything will be closed. So they are all trying very much how to create different resources, but they are worried that everything is decreasing. And because we are having petrol, or we are having gas, or we have electricity, we have created lot of research, and we have created vehicles, we are moving around. This is advancement of civilization. So this is also a kind of Sankhya. They are also analyzing things, and they have found out they have done some research how we can be happy. And as I told you, we are all working on how to become happy. And the whole materialistic civilization is depending on motor cars and aeroplanes. So suppose previously in our some 100 years back or 200 years back, they wanted to go and meet a friend. They had to hardly walk for a few kilometers, and they used to see their maternal home, paternal homes, all were nearby. Now, since we have created technology, we established transportation business. Like Britishers, they started railways for taking the resources, raw materials from all Indian villages and supply to Britain. Because of technology, navigation, they came here, started as business, and from that business, now they wanted resources all over India, and they started taking it and exporting. And that's how, because there are resources, now you can travel from one place to other place by going in motor car, in aeroplanes. So if you have to go for a doctor appointment, maybe you can go on from Delhi to Bombay or New York to London. Any part of the world you can travel. So one side you are having facility to go to one place either for an appointment. That is nice. The other side you have to work very hard, morning to night. In certain places, in the cities, they travel early morning. Suppose they have to catch a bus 6 o'clock, they have to get up 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, get ready, and they have to go to bus stand or railway station. 6 o'clock train or 5:30 train they catch. 2 hours they travel from Calcutta to go to Calcutta from some other district they will be coming. And from to Bombay, especially Bombay is a very busy city, and in other countries they travel by aeroplane also. They leave early in the morning, they reach 8:30, 9 office, they work whole day 9 o'clock to evening 4 o'clock, and again evening 5 o'clock they catch one more train or plane, and they reach late night 9 o'clock, and they sleep with the family. So, one side we have created aeroplane facility, train facility, but side by side you have to travel hundreds of miles just to go to your office or workplace, whereas previously they have to just walk little to go and reach their workplace. So, we have created a civilization to create a facility. Side by side we have created another difficulty. And that difficulty is we are having so much of problems. You have to travel every day, and that is advancing. What is advancing? Advancing of creating more troubles. So they are advancing. So there is one more story I had mentioned once, that there was one child who saw one grown-up person, one man in the house, and it asked, who is this gentleman? Mother, she is asking because she had not seen that man in the house. So that was actually, the mother told, he is your father, my child. It was actually a father. The reality was that when the child was very small, the father was going away early in the morning, the child was sleeping, and by the time the child was awake again, father is not there, and the night when he comes back, child is sleeping. So the child had not seen its father. So this is a facility that child has to wait for 3-4 years to see the father. So we are creating a so-called science with lot of disadvantages. So here in one story Prabhupada speaks about, today we know what are the difficulties of touchscreen mobiles and gadgets and how they create trouble. But in 1960s, when there was in India to get a telephone was difficult, but in other countries by paying money they were giving phones immediately, and our Acharya Srila Prabhupada narrates an incident that he had got a telephone to his apartment, and he was very glad that he had got a telephone, but in India it was taking 1.5 years, 2 years, application waiting list was there. But the moment when he got a phone, all his disciples started calling him. In those days, you know how sound used to come, tring, 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 like that whole night it was going on. And in the late night, they used to wake him up and ask, "How are you, sir? How are you, Swamiji?" And he got fed up so much. And if he asked, this is the time for asking, they will say, "I am sorry." And he got so fed up and he said, "You throw this phone out, kick this out." So that is the nature in this world, that anything you try to get for facility later, that becomes a bothersome for us. It becomes a trouble. So the so-called facility in this world, they create so many problems. Like we have created aeroplane, but side by side we have to know how to manage it. Through accident happen also, you have to manage. We have in India we are having roadways, and they are now trying to expand it across the country also. Roads can go from India to China to Asia. Whole Asia, they are planning to have roads. A lot of planning commissions, they are trying how we can have roads. Road means what? We have to put either cement, stones, tar, kilometers wise, thousands of kilometers. And thousands of kilometers, what are the materials you are using? You have to dig the materials, you have to put there. Then you are manufacturing vehicles. Recently somebody was showing how India was looking in 1940s, how it was so green. Calcutta was considered to be the best capital in India. That's how Britishers choose it as East India Company's capital. British capital was Kolkata. And Kolkata was so beautiful. It was like heaven. And they were showing the photograph of old Calcutta and new Calcutta. Where is it filled with drainages. The whole buildings are almost falling down. But still nobody will vacate that house because it is so costly. Even in Bombay, Juhu, in 1970s it was outside. Juhu means it is outskirts. Now Juhu is so costly place. The cities have expanded and they have deteriorated. Bangalore was once called the dream city, garden city, heavenly city, what not. In 1970s also, like the older cities like Bombay, Kolkata, Chennai, those cosmopolitans, they got spoiled way back only. But Bangalore was very beautiful even in 1980s, early 1990s. Then pubs entered, industries entered, nice cities, lakes disappeared, beautiful air, parks vanished. So this is the nature. We are trying to have facility, but when we are trying to increase the facility, side by side we are creating pollution problem, diseases, so many disadvantages. So they don't know how to be happy. The modern so-called civilization and advancement, they don't know how to be happy. That's how they are called karmis. They are doing their karma, working very, very hard. But the real way of Sankhya philosophy is to analytically study the creation, to understand it. Samyak kyayate. Samyak means completely how to know how the creation happened. There was a sound, there was a vibration in the creation. And from that vibration, there was a sky. And from the sky, that was the beginning of creation. And from there, that sky, there was a sound. Then from sound, there was air. And from air, there was electricity or fire. And from fire, there was water. Or from water, there was fire. Like that, there is a series one after one. And at the end, there was earth. So then how this mind is created, intelligence is created, how the secondary controllers are created, These are all in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So, people generally think that spiritualists means they simply do meditation, they are chanting, they are dancing. Of course, we know that is our goal. But not that we just do that. We know the Vedic scholars, they know how the creation is going on, they'll be able to explain everything. But the so-called scientists, they don't know. They are worried, what will happen. One disease comes, they become bewildered. If there is something, some resources are going away, they get bewildered. In the third canto, it is explained how the birth of Kapila Muni happened, how his mother Devavati, she actually was left in the forest by her husband, and she took care of her son. The same son, when he grew up, he was a Supreme Lord only, so he was known as Devavati Putra Kapila. So before we go to Sankhya philosophy, one more point we wanted to touch today was how the incarnations of the Lord, they are glorified by especially by their mother's name, Yashoda Nandana, Devaki Nandana, or even father's name, Vasudeva Nandana, Nanda Nandana. The Lord becomes very pleased when he is addressed by his devotees' names. And in even Kapila Deva, he is known like that. And the great devotees who become the father and mother, like we were seeing the next verse, how Dattatreya, his mother Anasuya, she asked for the Lord, if you are pleased with me, and if you desire me to ask from you some sort of blessings, then I pray that you combine together to become my son. So this is what great devotees, they are not asking for liberation. They are asking to become father and mother. So there are philosophies where father is accepted, God is accepted as father. Like in the Christians, they say Christ is father. And they accept Jesus as son of Christ. Similarly, in the Shaktas, they accept Mother Durga as God, goddess Kali. So there are conceptions of how God is impersonal, or in personalized they have some conception of mother, father. But the Vaishnava philosophy is even more greater than that. They are accepting Father, the Supreme Lord, because the Lord is actually Father, Mother, He is only everything. But when you accept children, they accept father and mother, and they demand from them, I want this, I want that. So there is an anxiety for father and mother, how to take care of children. A devotee, he accepts that kind of position and he asks God to become his son, so that they take that anxiety to serve God, who is actually the supplier of everything. So they become suppliers, and this philosophy is greater than to become I am God or I am a son of God. We are sons of God, we are children of God, but the Lord gives facility how to become subordinate to his devotees as son. So that is how the Lord gives reciprocation to his devotees. The another one is, we were coming back to Kapila Sankhya philosophy. In Kapila Sankhya philosophy, there are many elements, there are 24 elements basically described. And in how subtle elements, mind, intelligence, false ego, bhumi, rapo, analo, vayu, earth, water, fire, air, ether. So these are 5 gross elements, and then I am reading there are other finer elements, then there are 10 sense organs, that is 5 sense perception, 5 organs, and 5 organs for Jnanendriya and Panchendriya. 10 sense organs and 5 subject matter of sense perception. So in this way there are 24 elements. So this philosophy of what Kapila Deva gave in detail by Kala Viplutam, it has lost. Not only it has lost, the Lord says in the Bhagavad Gita that I spoke this knowledge, Imam Vivasvate Yogam, I spoke this thousands of millions of years back, and now everything has gone by time. The Lord gives information again by parampara. Whenever it's lost, He comes and gives the knowledge. So there is no need for research. The knowledge is available. We know everything which is mentioned in the Vedas. Everything is available. We don't have to be doing research. But they keep on doing research. For what they are doing research, we don't know. But they'll waste lot of money. The money wasted in either space exploration or scientific research, there are many wise researchers and scholars who say it is only show of money and power. By political and research name, how much of public money is wasted. So many poor people are dying. In the name of science, it can be cheated. The politician can cheat that we are advancing and can dump as much as money for war or for in the name of science and research. This is also one kind of cheating which happens in the world. Whatever people think that there is something, science means people they accept, yeah, there is something intelligent, yeah, we have to accept. So those kind of things people, they cheat people. But in the Bhagavatam it is mentioned how things can diminish. In the Bhagavatam, it is said in the 12th canto how there will be no wheat, no sugar, no rice at the end of Kali Yuga. They have to eat only some seeds and flesh. And there are more symptoms which will be saying how politicians will more exploit you. It is said how the people will get so much exploited, so much frustrated, that they'll run away to the forests because they cannot tolerate what is happening in the cities. And it is said that people will decrease the span of life, span of mercifulness, and people will become like vagabonds. Means they'll have no place to stay, they'll be moving around. Bhagavatam explains about losing mercy. Although we are very much advanced in today's science and literature, and they say that we are above all caste and creed, there should be no caste and creed. The whole Western world speaks about freedom from caste and creed, and India, there are many castes and creeds. So in the Western world, we don't care for caste and creed. But they also have some kind of bacteria in their head, something which are there in their head, that is color. They are so much after this color of the skin. They are so much after it, they can't tolerate. They kill each other, they discriminate in the based on color. So they are actually on the bodily platform, and when you are in bodily platform, there cannot be equality. Equality can be only in a spiritual platform. And spiritual platform, whether you are educated or uneducated, you are given higher education, not only academically, you are given education in wisdom. In Japan, they train the school children how to clean their own rooms. In their schools, they don't have any housekeeping people to come and clean. They have been taught how to respect the work of others. They teach them in the school how to cook, how to grow their vegetables. Even a young child She's taught how to go to the school independently. So this teaches them a culture. There is a culture required, because by culture people can respect others. Just by academic qualification, by saying I'm having so many degrees, you cannot teach people how to be respectful to others. It's something which has to be taught by culture. So culturing our characters are very important, which is not done in the modern education. And that is also mentioned in the Bhagavatam, how it is mentioned, Lavanyam Keshadharanam. In Kali Yuga, in the age, they think that by growing long hair they will be beautiful. So in the 60s, they used to have long hair, then again short hair, again long hair. So this is a kind of fashion when we see, these are all mentioned in the Bhagavatam. One more also it is said, Dampatyam Ratimevai. In Bombay, in the streets, when our Acharya was walking and going, he had seen in the 1960s or 1950s, where there were one man with accident, and he was begging, but he was dressed well. His wife was there taking care of him. That means he understood that wife didn't care about the beauty of the husband. After some accident, he is sick and she is taking care of him nicely. Although she is begging, she is taking care of the husband. That means the relationship was not always by how beauty. We don't know the real story. It's not that man and women should be begging and taking care of husband and wife. The example was that how they were relationships not based on beauty and sense gratification, whereas the modern world, it is actually also appreciated when a lover goes and throws an acid on a girl's face and he runs away because she has not accepted. And the girl gets severely burned, half burned many times. The so-called love, whenever there is sense gratification stops, if the girl says no, they torture that girl. This is not love. This is demonism. Very demonic. So that kind of civilization is already expected, and it is predicted also in the Bhagavatam, how even a married husband and wife, it is seen as a fashion, that if they are not able to give proper sense gratification, they will be rejected and they will be sent away. Okay, you go away, they will be divorced. It is not appreciated. And there are statements in the Bhagavatam that people will become, the duration of life will become so less that 20 to 30 years later, 20 to 30 years at the age of Kali Yuga, they will feel 20 to 30 years of a duration of life is too much. They will be considered a grand old man. So these are all mentioned, and in Vedic literatures there are information how world is created, how world is annihilated. So later on, this Kapila Deva philosophy, what happens is there are so many people who come to imitate. Like when Lord Krishna was there in Dwaraka 5000 years back, there was an imitator. He was an imitator god. He was also having Shankha Chakra, all those artificial Kaustubha money, all whatever the Lord Vishnu wears, he was also wearing. And he declared that he is Lord Vishnu. And actually he was decorating like that himself. And he had some foolish followers to say how you are only God. And he sent a letter to Dwaraka challenging Krishna to return his disc, Sudarshana disc. You are falsely holding it, that belongs to me. So even during Lord Krishna's time, there are people like that. There are imposters. They claim to be true representatives, although they are not. So here also there was one more impostor Kapila. The Kapila Deva was Devavati Putra Kapila. But there was one more Kapila who gave the same kind of analogies, but he gave an atheistic kind of philosophy. So this is how they create atheism. Finally they feel this spirituality and religiousness, they are very primitive. But they themselves are not able to help. Like we knew that there were great professors, Einstein, Newton, but everybody had to die by the law of nature. Because great scientists could have created more Einsteins, more Newtons, kept their brains so that future there will be no scarcity of such great scientists. But everybody is under law of nature. That's how the law of nature is. And here we are seeing who is forcing the nature. Everything beyond there is Lord. How Prakriti is worldling. The Sankhya philosophy explains how the nature is working so excellently that when there is a change of weather, summer to winter to rainy season to spring, how so many millions of trees, there is a fall, the leaves fall down. And after some few months, again how so many nice trees, green leaves come up. It is not possible to manufacture all this in our factories. We have capacity to cut the trees for our newspapers and then blame people for religiousness. But we can't create so nice creation of God. There can be more of deforestation, of removing forest for all selfish human welfares, so-called welfares. So for God, how creation happens, it is so wonderfully He can create. He can just see, and God saw and there was creation. It is also in Bible, and it is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita and in the Bhagavatam how God Saikshata, He saw and there was creation. So we are not after cheap gods. In this class Prabhupada is saying Yasyaika nishvasita kalam atavalambya Jivanti loma vilaja jagadanda nata. We are not seeking after cheap gods, we are after the real God. And He is Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. He is the Supreme Lord. So everything is there in the Vedic knowledge, and we take knowledge from the right sources. We don't speculate this knowledge like how people do right now. If you have to take knowledge, you have to go from the right source. Otherwise you will be cheated. So at the end of the verse of this class, if you accept any incarnations, the incarnation should be mentioned in the Vedic literature. Just like Anasuya, she prayed for Dattatreya, it's mentioned in the Bhagavatam. The incarnation of Buddha is mentioned. Even devotees' incarnations are mentioned. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu incarnation is mentioned. But people who claim that I am God, they have no source of knowledge. So it is advised that you have to see the symptoms and take knowledge. Information should be taken from right source. Don't get cheated. So we'll stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki, Srimad Bhagavatam ki.